Friday morning, I woke to chainsaws screaming outside my bedroom window, and my entire Christmas tree farm was being butchered in broad daylight. 2,000 mature Fraser firs worth $23,000 fell like soldiers, my daughter's college fund collapsing with every mechanical scream. Fresh stumps bled sap into the frozen ground while diesel fumes choked the December air around my 40-acre sanctuary. Zip-tied to my gate hung a smug letter from HOA President Magnolia Patterson claiming legal seizure under agricultural lien authority. She called my trees abandoned commercial inventory, property she was entitled to harvest and resell to waiting suburban buyers. What she didn't know was that hidden 4K cameras captured every chainsaw cut, every license plate, every envelope stuffed with cash. My farm sits 200 feet outside Willowbrook Hills HOA jurisdiction, surveyed, measured, legally untouchable by her manicured tyranny. What Magnolia committed wasn't policy enforcement, it was straight grand theft wrapped in forged paperwork and perfume. And she made the fatal mistake of stealing from a disabled Army veteran with nothing left to lose. My name is Rex Thornfield, 52, spine wrecked by an IED in Afghanistan, heart fractured by cancer stealing my wife. 18 months ago, Sarah died, leaving medical bills towering like mountains in silence, suffocating our small family home. Her life insurance bought this farm, 40 acres of Fraser firs, and a fragile promise of hope. Emma and Grace, my 16-year-old twins, finally smiled again, walking between pine rows breathing mountain air. The farm represented tuition money, stability, and a future not defined by hospital debt collectors. Magnolia Patterson rolled into my life in a white Range Rover with a smile colder than winter steel. Perfect hair, designer tennis outfit, and eyes that calculated profit margins behind fake neighborly charm. She offered partnership, 60-40 split, her selling my trees to upscale neighborhoods at premium prices. I refused politely, choosing honest farm direct sales over her glossy suburban markup machine. That's when her sweetness evaporated, revealing something predatory beneath carefully curated perfection. She warned me I didn't understand how Christmas trees worked around here, contracts already promised. Within weeks, fake agricultural lien letters arrived, claiming I owed $25,000 to phantom creditors. Official logos, intimidating legal jargon, and threats of property seizure if payment wasn't immediate. Army training taught me verify intelligence before reacting, so I went straight to the courthouse basement. 3 dusty hours later, records confirmed 0 liens, 0 debts, 0 legal claims against my property. Magnolia had fabricated everything, building a paper fortress to justify theft disguised as debt recovery. Emma discovered her selling premium Fraser fir pre-orders online, 400 families already paying deposits. She promised legally acquired inventory from Patterson Farms' debt recovery operations across 3 counties. $90,000 collected up front, another $90,000 due upon delivery before Christmas Eve. She had already spent the deposits and desperately needed my trees to avoid fraud charges. Surveillance intensified as she photographed my best specimens and mapped access roads like a battlefield. Supply companies began canceling contracts after calls from someone claiming to be my business partner. Insurance flagged irregularities, equipment rentals suspended, tree netting shipments mysteriously delayed. She was isolating my operation, softening defenses before executing full-scale inventory extraction. Jake Morrison, a private investigator, uncovered her 4-year pattern targeting small farmers with identical schemes. 43 farms destroyed across 3 states through forged liens and fraudulent seizure documentation. Detective Walsh confirmed an active federal investigation waiting for real-time theft evidence. My hidden cameras became bait in a carefully orchestrated sting operation scheduled before Christmas. Magnolia announced a tactical harvest crew deploying Friday night under emergency agricultural protocols. She used military language like she was launching a coordinated assault instead of stealing Christmas trees. I sent Emma and Grace to their aunt's house, unwilling to let them witness potential violence. Snow clouds gathered as undercover officers positioned themselves beyond tree lines surrounding my property. At 9 p.m., 3 black vehicles approached silently using backlogging roads hidden from highway visibility. 6 figures in tactical black deployed with chainsaws, headsets, and practiced precision movements. Magnolia stood beside her Range Rover, clutching thick envelopes, likely stuffed with buyer cash. The first chainsaw roared alive, echoing like artillery across frozen pine rows. Each fallen tree felt like Sarah's memory being cut down again before my helpless eyes. Detective Walsh held her team back, waiting for loading, transport, and transaction confirmation. Pete's Christmas tree lot truck arrived exactly on schedule to purchase stolen inventory. They shook hands over $20,000 worth of freshly cut Fraser firs. That handshake sealed federal conspiracy charges they never saw coming. At 9:47 p.m., Walsh gave the command, and darkness erupted into flashing lights and shouted orders. Federal agents swarmed through trees like ghosts, weapons drawn, voices thunderous with authority. Chainsaws died mid-cut as criminals dropped equipment and collapsed into snow under blinding spotlights. Magnolia's triumphant expression shattered when handcuffs clicked around manicured wrists. She screamed about community protection and abandoned inventory while evidence streamed live to prosecutors. Walsh held up forged documents, exposing fake law firms and corrupt inspectors tied to her network. Bruce Patterson attempted retreat, but found every exit sealed by tactical perimeter units. Pete stood trembling beside his truck, realizing he'd driven into a federal sting operation. Magnolia's final mistake was insulting a disabled veteran within earshot of law enforcement. Her entitled rant only strengthened resolve of officers already disgusted by her exploitation record. Channel 7 News arrived, broadcasting her arrest beneath flashing red and blue lights. She tried weaponizing media earlier. Now cameras captured her downfall in humiliating detail. Federal prosecutors froze $180,000 in accounts linked to stolen deposits. Asset seizure extended to her home, vehicles, and Patterson Farms business holdings. Bruce faced conspiracy charges, while corrupt Inspector Martin Cruz was arrested separately. David Sterling, the crooked lawyer, was disbarred and indicted for document forgery. My stolen trees were reloaded onto legitimate trucks for return under police supervision. Christmas Eve dawned brutally cold but lighter than any morning since Sarah passed. Magnolia received 3 years federal prison and $200,000 in restitution orders. 43 victim families began receiving compensation from seized criminal assets. Emma and Grace's full college fund was restored and then some through recovered money and record sales. Families who'd prepaid Magnolia instead drove directly to my farm for authentic trees. Cars lined half a mile down the road, headlights glowing against fresh snowfall. Emma served hot chocolate using her mother's recipe while Grace tied ribbons around chosen trees. Veterans from town volunteered security, refusing to let criminals threaten our property again. Churches donated cookies, neighbors shared fire pits, and the farm felt alive with community. Detective Walsh visited Christmas afternoon, confirming the network spanned 12 states. My evidence became training material for federal agricultural crime task forces nationwide. We established the Sarah Thornfield Memorial Agricultural Protection Program, supporting vulnerable farmers legally. 15 families received free legal aid within 6 months of the program's launch. Magnolia's former customers publicly apologized after learning their deposits funded organized crime. Awareness spread about verifying sources and supporting legitimate local agriculture operations. The farm expanded operations, adding agritourism events and fraud prevention workshops annually. Emma deferred college 1 year to help manage bookkeeping and cybersecurity systems. Grace organized community events honoring families harmed by agricultural exploitation. Snow falling across healthy Fraser firs now symbolizes resilience rather than vulnerability. I still walk rows at night, remembering chainsaw screams and flashing tactical lights. But those memories now carry justice instead of helpless rage. Sarah's sacrifice bought more than land. It ignited a fight protecting dozens of families. Magnolia believed paperwork could override morality and muscle could silence truth. She underestimated hidden cameras, federal patience, and a father protecting his daughter's future. Sometimes justice requires bait, strategy, and iron restraint, while thieves destroy what you love. Sometimes the little guy wins when law, evidence, and courage stand united. If someone tried stealing your family's livelihood with forged authority, what would you do? And wherever you're watching from tonight, remember this: entitlement falls hardest when truth records everything.